All right, today we're going to dig into a really powerful idea from a speech by Elder David Ab Bednar. He asks us to see a university as more than just a place for getting a degree, but as something with a much, much deeper purpose. Honestly, it's a vision that might just flip how you think about higher education.
So here's a question for you. What could a modern university possibly have in common with a missionary training center? I mean, on the surface, they seem like totally different things, right? But the answer this speech gives us reveals this incredible vision for education, one that's focused on something way bigger than just a piece of paper.
Here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with how this university was reimagined, then we'll decode this core concept, explore the three pillars that hold it up, and finally, see what it all means for disciples living in our world today. Okay, let's jump right in. Section 1, a university reimagined. You see, the shift from a small college to a big university wasn't just about getting bigger. It was about a total change in its fundamental purpose. And here it is, the central idea. The university isn't trying to be a missionary training center, an MTC. Nope. Its real identity, its true calling, is to be a disciple preparation center, a DPC. So what on earth does that actually mean? Let's break it down. That brings us to Section 2, decoding the DPC. To really get what this is all about, we've got to look at what each word in this new name actually means. It's more than just a label. First up, disciple. And we're not just talking about a passive follower here. A disciple is someone who is actively trying to learn from Jesus Christ, to see the world the way he does, to gain what the scriptures call the mind of Christ. Next, preparation. This isn't something that just happens by accident. It's a deliberate, intentional process of being made ready, of being set in order for some future action or, a higher purpose. And finally, center. Think of it not just as a location or a building, but as a starting point, a source, a place where influence begins and then radiates outward into the world. So when you put all those pieces together, boom, the vision becomes crystal clear. A disciple preparation center is a place where followers of Christ are actively getting ready to go out and be a source of good influence that just flows into the world. So, on to Section 3, the three pillars. Now that's a pretty amazing concept, but you might be wondering, how is that even possible? What makes an environment like that work? Well, the speech says it all rests on three foundational pillars. And here they are. First, you have the university itself, which is described as a temple of learning. Second, you've got the physical house of the Lord, a literal temple right there. And third, it's all supported by strong stakes of Zion, which are these large organized groups of congregations that create a powerful community. Let's really dig into that first pillar for a second. The university is called a temple of learning, and this chart shows just how deep that parallel runs. Look at this. For entry, both have a worthiness standard. The process in both involves making serious commitments. We call them covenants in the temple, and it's the honor code at the university. And the outcome? In both places, you're striving for a higher standard. It's a really cool pattern. The second pillar is that literal house of the Lord on campus, and this quote from Elder Washburn just says it all. He talks about the protection that's available in the temple and through the promises we make there. It's a source of real spiritual strength. And this brings us to that amazing third pillar, strong stakes of Zion. Get this, there are over 70 congregations or wards organized into 7 of these larger groups called stakes right on campus. It creates this unbelievable spiritual support system. The scriptures call it a defense and a refuge from the storm, and you can really see why. Okay, so we've got this unique place supported by 3 massive pillars. But what's the point of it all? I mean, what are students supposed to actually learn from this whole experience? Turns out there are 3 key lessons. It really boils down to these 3 things. First, that a disciple's faith has to be centered on Jesus Christ. Second, that faith isn't just something you have. It's a spiritual gift you have to actively seek. And third, and this is so important, when you combine that faith with real preparation, it has the power to dispel fear. Now, to really get why that third lesson is so critical, we have to look at the world we live in. This quote is pretty direct about it. It describes a world where things that used to be hidden in darkness are now right out in the open. It paints a picture of some pretty turbulent times, doesn't it? And that's where it all connects. In a world that can feel chaotic and full of fear, the promise to these prepared disciples is that they will be able to stand in holy places and shall not be moved. Their faith and their preparation literally become an anchor, a pillar of stability right in the middle of the storm. Okay, our final section. Let's pull all of this together.
The DPC concept, its pillars, the lessons, they all point to one big culminating idea. There is a mission for disciples in our modern world.
And this powerful quote from Joseph Smith is presented almost like the mission statement for that purpose. It's this vision of truth going forward boldly, nobly, with this unstoppable momentum, carried by disciples who had been prepared for this very moment.
And that leaves us with this final big question to think about. The Disciple Preparation Center is a very specific model, right? But it makes you wonder, in our complex world, what is the role of any specialized institution, whether it's religious or not, in actually preparing people for the challenges that are ahead? What does real preparation even look like today?